I had to work. I mean, my schedule in JUCO was this. I delivered cabinets from 4 in the morning till 10 in the morning. So I worked for a cabinet company, and when I say deliver cabinets, like those big 18-wheeler trucks,
Yeah.
those were filled with like pantry cabinets, like all these new house builds. So we would drive to these new house communities up north, and I'd have to put these cabinets on my back and walk them down the ramp, and then I'd have to walk them into the houses. We weren't putting them on dollies, we were putting them on our backs. So I did this every morning from 4 in the morning till 10 in the morning. Then went to class from 10 to 2. Then had practice film study from 2 to 3, and then full football practice from 3 to 5, and then go home, eat, try to get some homework done, and I'm up at 3 o'clock the next day. This is all in junior college, bro. I'm 18, 19 years old.
This is 2 years. This is 2 years in a row.
This is 2 years.
So you put in this work. You got to put in all this work before you even get to the field.
Yeah.
Before you even get to the field again, man. Shout out to junior college, athletes, and shout out to your coaches and some of your teammates.
I don't do the most, but I do a lot. I'ma make a toast, cause we still alive. No big, I feel like Pac. Shoot a shot.
Well, folks, looks like another heartbreaking loss for the Tigers. They go down in a nail-biter, 13-17. Back to you, Jim.
Yeah, coming in hot, just like the fajita. I write what I live, my life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow, just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam, I'm feeding the meter. They got the iron while I got the steamer. I bring the fire, but you never seen them. I testified on
1317 Sports presents the Get It Off Your Chest podcast, sponsored by no one.
Yeah, you hit it on the head. You were fortunate when it came to it, because you had a chance to. The junior college that was in your area, in the area where you lived, had just happened to have a good program.
Yeah.
And what a blessing that was. And then you'd be able to live at home, because Sanders, he was like, man, it almost was a gift and a curse for him, because he was too close to home.
Yeah.
And but again, you in San Diego, he in the Valley, in Los Angeles. So on this team, and he said this, and he's like, man, my junior college team could it be any college team that I played with?
Thanks.
And he said that's what the talent was like. Was it the same way on your team?
100%. Yeah. I think I had joked about this when we got to Martin with Sanders. Is like, I said, man, Grossmont team could have beat our team, because when we got there, right, Sanders and myself were the only JUCO players on the team, and we were both from Southern California, so we already had that commonality. But we both said the same thing, like, man, this was such a rebuilding year for Martin that our JUCOs would have beat us 100%.
Right. Yeah. When I saw this, when you guys' development and your mindset when you came to Martin, it was like we had Stephon Gomes and Paris Minor, who they Coach Griffin brought from University of Maine, but they were had some ineligibility situations going on. How I looked at you guys is how I looked at them, because I was like, dude, these guys are like these guys are men. You guys had this mentality and his mind, this mentality, this mindset that I'm like, they're trying to get to another level. They're trying to prove themselves. And I was like, I really had to look at myself in the mirror, especially like Stephon and Paris, like they were talent. Stephon was 6'3", 225 pounds, and a beast of a receiver. And I was actually let down. I was a gift and a curse that he didn't play, because I wouldn't have been able to play. But I also could have redshirted. And also Paris was just 5'9", very shifty, had hands, had the mobility, and you guys just already were developed. And so he Sanders, he ended up his freshman year playing at Oregon State, and having the benefit of having Junior Adams and TJ Uzmanzada and Chad Johnson on that team briefly, and just talent galore. And then he's talking about junior college and his talent galore, and you were talking about junior college and his talent galore. Who like on that team? Who were some of the people that you played with on that in the 2 years that all you guys got scholarships? So many of you guys got scholarships off that team. And were any memorable people on that team that you played with at Grossmont?
Yeah, there was a couple, man. There was a kid named Brett Hudson who I'd played with since I was 6 years old in Pop Warner, who was 6'3", 220, fast, played strong safety. And in fact, in spring ball, going from our junior year and our my first year there, going to my second year,
Yeah.
he got picked up right there in spring ball by Arizona State. He got picked up, and another kid named Josh Golden got picked up, who was a deep. They ended up they were playing with us my freshman year at Grossmont, and then the next year they're opening up against University of Nebraska at Arizona State.
So wow.
Yes, so there was them two, and then there was one guy who became my brother, Donnie Jackson. So going into Grossmont after my senior year, I had mentioned there was a few players that came from other states.
Right.
Well, Don Jackson was one who got on the bus from Natchez, Mississippi, on a one-way ticket. He had a friend that was living in San Diego, and he came and decided to go to Grossmont and enroll where his friend was. Now,
Wow.
Don was one of the most gifted linebackers and athletes I'd ever seen in my entire life. 6'1", arms that hung down to his knees, small waist, fast, instinctive, hard hitting, and was just a natural athlete. And me and him became brothers, like close to the point where he was living, and his living situation was not ideal because he was kind of just couch surfing from place to place. He was spending a lot of time at our house, and this is JUCO, right? So we're 18, 19 years old.
Right.
I'm lucky that I had the foundation that I had and the parents. So Don would spend a lot of time at our place, right? And he would he'd stay the night over. My mom would cook. And then it got to the point where one day he was over, and Mom said, we're going to drive to your place right now. We're going to pick up all your stuff and you're moving in.
Wow.
And she had his room all done. Had a bed together, had everything set up, had the TV, and he moved in, and he became my brother. And then he ended up getting a scholarship to Washington State at linebacker. And he ended up actually marrying my cousin, so he's actually now in
family member
in my family for real.
Yo, what?
But he was my mom. At before she passed, we had a living celebration of life, and she mentioned, God gave her 3 biological sons: myself, my brother Dave, my brother Joe, and then gave her 3 additional sons: Sanders Trent, Don Jackson, and my other friend Scott Smiley from high school.
Wow, dog! I'm telling you, man. Listen, we started watching the movie Mufasa last night. My family and I, and obviously it's the prequel to Mufasa. For people who fans of the Lion King, I grew up on the Lion King. You grew up on the Lion King, and it's his prequel, and it's his origin story, and Scar is in that origin story, and Scar is Mufasa is has this broken. He's has this tragedy. He's taken away from his family and downstream, and and he is found by Scar, who is ultimately the antagonist in the movie and the later movies, and has his jealousy with Mufasa. Well, when they were kids, Scar, he wasn't Scar yet. He found Mufasa, and he's a stray. Mufasa's a stray, and in the Lion Kingdom, if you ain't not part of a pack, you in trouble. And so his mom, Scar's mother, finds him playing with this kid in the river, and this baby lion, this cub, and it's Mufasa, and her husband, who's the king of their pride, and he's like, you know what to do with strays? You kill them, because strays will turn on you. But anywho, Scar, that's neither here nor there. Scar's like, I've always wanted a brother. So they actually have to have this competition in order for Mufasa to stay with the tribe, with the pride. So he has to race the future king, which is Scar. And Scar's mother, she wants to take in Mufasa as well, but the king doesn't. So the mom and Scar at the time. He's not Scar. They know that with each other. Like you need to let him win, let Mufasa win, so he can stay, so you can have a brother.
Yeah.
Right. And it started with the mom. So that I was just watching that last night. It made me think about that. Like, and again, just a testimony to Mama Castillo, who she was, and you and your family. And shout out to Don, my boy. Hey, you made the podcast, even though I don't know you, but I do know you.
Yeah,
So
Don Jackson, my brother.
Don Jackson. Shout out to Don Jackson. So you end up creating. Everywhere you go, man, you again, that's power sports. You get these relationships, they last forever, lifetime brothers. And so you at Grossmont, and so you got these guys who get a chance to continue their collegiate careers. You have a successful career. You're facing challenges, trials and tribulations. You're reproving yourself at Grossmont. Now it's time after your second year, and you're winning. Of course, your winning tradition continues at Grossmont.
Yeah.
You're a winner. Now it's time for you to find a school. And tell me, obviously we know what school you chose, but for full context for the show, how the hell did you end?
Yeah. Yeah,
How the
great question.
hell did you end up in Martin, Tennessee?
Yeah, had no idea the school even existed. I going into my sophomore year now at Grossmont. I'm getting highly recruited at Pac-10 schools because I've now established myself as one of the best JUCO linebackers in the state. So I'm having a great year. My sophomore year, getting recruited, about to start lining up some visit. Arizona State was on the list because they already had the connection with Brett and Josh Gold, who they had picked up the year before. So we started establishing these pipelines of Pac-10 schools through Grossmont. So I'm getting recruited, and we're coming up, and I'm having a great year, man. Like now I'm finally coming into my own. My speed is up. Now I'm running consistently 4.5s. I'm training hard. My body is taking the shape as a college linebacker. And we're coming into the second to the last game of the year. We're playing a team called Victorville at Victorville. And going into this game, this is like my Michael Jordan flu game, right? Like I'm dead. I'm going to the game. I have 102-degree temperature. I'm feeling terrible, but we had to win this game in order to make a playoff run. And like I mentioned, we were all trying to get scholarships, but we wanted to win first, man. And we wanted to win a championship, and we were so happy to be playing with each other because we had all grown up together in the same neighborhoods.
Right.
So I was like, okay, like I'm the leader of this team and this defense. Like I'm gonna play through it, right? So I'm gonna play, and I end up having a good game. We're the first half is coming to an end, and I play well. So I'm in the locker room at halftime, and I'm getting an IV, and I'm telling coach, I'm like, okay, we're already at a point where we're leading the game. I'm done. I think I don't need to play anymore. I'll play the first series, and then I'm gonna get out of there and rest up because I'm just not feeling good. Like I've left everything on the field. I'm done. So we go in and defense starts, and mind you, I said I'm going to play the one series and that's it. So we stop them for first two plays. It's third and long, and I said, okay, I've watched enough film. I know exactly what's coming. They're going to run a draw off the left side. Okay, so third and long comes. Running back stalls in the back, delays, comes for a draw, and I come up to meet him head on, and I'm tackling him head on for right at the line of scrimmage, and my foot is planted as I'm tackling him, and as my foot is planted, someone falls on my foot from the back, and my foot turns, and my leg completely snaps, and I look down at and I'm on the ground, and it felt like a loud noise, right? It felt like a car, like something snapped. And I looked down, and I couldn't see my toes because my foot was turned all the way into the left, and my cleats had busted, and I see something poking out of my side.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh man.
Oh my God.
This is not good. So we're in Victorville, which is about 2.5 hours, 3 hours in the desert away from San Diego. And we go to there's only one little clinic in Victorville. So they put me in an air cast, and we have to drive home. And my mom had a Cadillac at that time. And I'm in the back of the Cadillac, in shock in an air cast, and my foot is on top of my shoulder pads, and it's raining and there's traffic, and that 3 hours turns into 5 hours.
Oh my gosh, bruh.
So we get back, we see the doctor. They give me like all the medications, clean everything up, and I can't schedule surgery. They can't schedule until Thursday.
Oh,
So not only the diagnosis was I broke my fibula,
yeah,
compound fracture,
yeah.
but it was so traumatic that I also tore what they call the deltoid ligament, which is on the inside of your ankle, which is one of the strongest ligaments in the body.
What?
I snapped that too. And the crazy part is the earliest I could get surgery was Thursday. So here I am laying in bed with a broken leg and a snapped tendon in my ankle for 4 days before surgery. Now you talk about pain and you talk about fighting through adversity and overcoming obstacles. This
God.
felt like a hot knife being stabbed into my leg 24/7 for that entire time.
Bruh.
So this happens, and I get the surgery, and one doctor says you're never going to play football.
Oh my gosh, bruh.
And then I get a second opinion, and one doctor says, yeah, you may be able to play again, but it's not going to be what it's you're not going to be at the same ability that you were at.
Wow.
So this happened in November of what the best season I'm having.
Right.
I was told coming out of high school I was too small to play
Yep.
college football, right? So I had a chip on my shoulder to prove myself, right? And this has been the pattern my whole life. My mom had 7 miscarriages before she had me.
Right, right.
First person in my family to have an opportunity to go to college. All these things. Coming out of high school, I did all the right things, right? Checked all the boxes, good student, good person, community service, worked hard in the weight room, too small to go to college. Go to junior college, prove yourself. Now I'm in junior college and I'm doing all the right things.
Right.
I'm waking up at 3 a.m. I'm working from 4 to 10, lifting heavy ass cabinets, making money, excelling at school, having a great sophomore year. Last series I'm going to play in as I'm getting recruited because I'm dying of the flu and my ankle breaks. And I'm like,
Oh, bro, adversity. Look, and, you know, and listen, I see it. You know, you get emotional about it because you know that again, man. Everything that you're talking about, it relates to life too. You know, dealing with adversity, doing everything right.
yeah.
You know, making the right decisions. You can do everything right in life, and it may not go your way.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the story for many of people. Some people are able to combat those things and just continue to work hard. Some people, it crumbles them. It allows them to give up. But here you are, right? Here you are. This is the ultimate adversity. Everything you've done, bro. Everything you've done. You're against all odds. Even coming into this world, being born against all odds. And now you're facing it like, here we go again. And this is like at this point, this is like one of the most challenging, if not the challenging thing in your life. The football you worked so hard for, that you sacrificed so much for, is about to be over for you.
Over. Yeah. Yeah. This was one of those fork in the road moments, right?
Yeah.
This is where I could have chose a different path. What made things extra challenging during this time is that my grandfather, my mom's father, died like a week after I had my surgery.
Oh
So
my
we
gosh.
get a call that he had a stroke, went in the hospital. And he was a patriarch of the family, right? He was a guy. I didn't know my father's parents because they passed away before I was born. So he was
Wow.
he was it. So now I'm in a this is a dark time for me. This is
Right.
a depressed time. This is you know, can I play football again? Right? You have something you've done your entire life that you've
Yep.
worked so hard for, that you've done all the right things, you've checked all the right boxes, and now you have something that is out of your control, and you have people telling you that you'll never be able to do it again. So I'm in the worst pain I've ever been in, right? This is like a serious injury. So I'm prescribed, and I don't talk about this a lot, but I get prescribed Oxycontins.
Yeah.
And one of the most addictive
Yep.
drugs on the planet. And there was a time where I could have, it was a slippery slope, man, where I could have chosen a different path, because here I am, depressed, not sure if I'm ever going to play football again. My scholarship opportunities are out the door, right? One, at that time, recruiting JUCO players was not ideal for a lot of places. They want someone they can develop for 4 years. JUCO players, they want someone to come in and play right away and add to the team.
Right.
Well, here I am now, coming off an injury, so I lost all my trips and all my scholarship opportunities to the D1 schools that previously told me I was too small to play in college football, but now are offering me scholarship.
Right.
Now that's taken away. Lost my grandfather.
Right.
Now I'm at a point where, okay, I could go down the wrong, but I chose not to.
Right.
For me, it was it would have been selfish to do that.
Right.
You know, coming from the foundation and having the support of my parents, my family, it would have been a disservice to them if I would have quit and decided not to at least pursue. So, like everything in life, for me up until this point, I use this as more fuel, man. And I made up in my mind that not only am I going to play football again, but I'm going to play at the next level, and I'm going to prove everybody wrong. So this happened in November.
Right.
I was told by one doctor I'm never going to play again. I won't have the ability to play. I was told by another doctor that if you do play, you won't be like yourself. It'll be completely different. You won't be able to play that position because there's so much cutting and pivoting off that foot. You'll never have the strength back. By mid-January, I'm cut my cast off and I'm running on the field, and I'm out there and I'm starting to train and starting to do workouts. I made in my mind that was it. I cut my cast off ahead of time. I started back with my speed coach who was a teammate of mine. And we started training, and I made the decision in my mind that I'm going to prove everybody wrong again. But most importantly, I'm going to prove myself right, because I knew that I could play again. I knew that I deserved to play again, and I knew that was my goal, to get to the next level, and I was going to make it happen. So I started training, and out of nowhere in March, I get a call from Coach Andy Rondo. Hey, this is Coach Rondo from University of Tennessee at Martin. We got some film on you, and we'd love to have you come out for a visit. My first question is, where is University of Tennessee at? What division are you guys? In my head, I'm thinking, oh man, okay, this is like NAIA. This is Division 3. He's like, no, we're Division 1 double. And I said, no, you're not. So I said, okay. And then I said, man, where did you guys get film from? Because I didn't send out film. I'm not sure if the coaches did, but someone, it was a parent of somebody else on another team within our league at JUCO, sent my film out and they got a hold of it. So immediately I get on the website, as I'm sure you did and everybody did. I said, where is this Tennessee at Martin? Yep. So first thing I started looking at the football roster. And at that time, UT Martin didn't have the updated jerseys. They had these old school jerseys. And I'm looking down the roster. I'm like, this is Division 1 AA. I'm like, oh man. I'm like, these look, I mean, no disrespect to some of these people, but I'm like,
nah, bro, you right.
Like, man, I'm like, there's no way.
You right. You thinking the same way I was thinking, bro. Yeah. Russell jerseys, my boy.
Yeah,
come on now.
Russell jerseys and some of these guys with some of these haircuts and
bro,
and just the way that they look, like, right when you see a roster, you can tell a football roster. And I'm 100%. Looking and coming from my background and my high school experience, my JUCO, I'm like, oh man. So how I ended up at Martin, that was my opportunity, man. That was the only school after all this had happened, after I broke my leg, that called. So I took a trip to UT Martin, and that was it. I signed, and I said, okay, I'm gonna make the best of it,
dude. And hey, listen, I'm gonna tell you, shout out to UT Martin, because I'm gonna tell you, UT Martin's a powerhouse now. You know, they won we won my senior year, won the first ever Ohio Valley championship, and my junior year, which was your senior year, we had our first winning season in school history. You were on that team when we won 6-5, and Coach Griffin them left. Were you on that team?
No, because I only had 2 years, but I was
That's
still there.
right.
I was watching your game.
That's right, dude. Yeah. I played with you my freshman and my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And yeah, you and Sanders, man, dang it, bro. Yeah, and Sanders could have redshirted because they swindled him with the whole the non-mandatory camp that we had to go to, and he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
And I was soybean home of the soybean festival.
Capital of the world. Yeah. Yeah, home of the soybean festival. Yeah.
So you were not the only one, and that was a eye-opening experience for me as well. It was over 100 guys, they reported to camp our freshman year, and like 125 guys. There were so many people, junior college walk-ons, current players who had to actually make the team. They were the old regime, a part of that losing regime. And I think the one thing I will say that Coach Griffin actually did really well at when it came to putting us together. And no, we didn't have the team success when we played on the team together. Well, you were part of building what is now at Martin. Like, you were a part of that rebuild, and he put the thing I noticed about the guys that he put together. Everybody, all the people for the most part who came to Martin, you guys included, we all came from winning programs. Like, we all came from winning programs. I never was on I didn't win a state championship, but I was on a historic teams in Cincinnati. Part of the first public school Division I team to ever make it to the Cincinnati Division I playoffs. I was the starting receiver as a sophomore. So all of us were winners, but we all, and most of us, I had never heard of UT Martin, my boy. Never. I said, hey, listen, but it's gonna get me out of Cincinnati, and I'm going. So this gave you an opportunity to continue your career when everybody said that either this injury was going to not allow you to play anymore, or if you do play, you're not going to be able to play at the level that you were used to playing at. And so now you get to Martin, right? And Sanders told me this, you guys are my brothers, man, for life. And as I was telling, as we had our conversation, I was telling him, like, although we haven't seen each other face to face, maybe a handful of times in the last 20 years, the brotherhood and the bond, the bonding is never going to go away. Never. Like, the camaraderie will never go away. And so you guys, you two are the only guys from the West Coast, and you kind of opened up this recruiting door for Martin, because they ended up getting more people from California after you guys, not just because of your football skill, but you're a person. The people that you are. You weren't getting in trouble there. You were a team, or team players. So Sanders shared this story. He's like, man, and, he had the situation where his mom had just passed away, and as he was coming to Martin, and he had decided he wasn't coming. He wasn't going. He wasn't going back. And they picked him up at the airport. Coach Wilmot, Dwayne Wilmot. Shout out Coach Wilmot.
Coach Wilmot.
Wilmot, one of the most one of my coolest guys. But he spoke about you. Sanders talked about that moment when he met you, and when he was in a lost space in life.
Yeah.
Lost his best friend, his rock. Such as your mom, being a rock for you, and being a rock for your family. And he was very apprehensive. And he was like, I'm not doing this. Like, I'm not doing this anymore. My number one supporter is not here. And he said he mentioned, and he spoke about this, about you being that person, that it was like a sign. It was like, man, this guy, and that didn't even know. He just knew, we found out we're from California, and we were like, yo, I got you. He's like, I got your back, man, whatever you need. He said, that's the first thing you told him. Hey, man, look, I got your back, man, whatever you need. What can I do for you? And it kind of takes me back to during this conversation, as you're talking about, Don and some of your friends, some of your family, your brothers that you met through football. And of course, this is when you meet Sanders. You didn't grow up with Sanders. This is your first time meeting Sanders, and now, of course, the relationship is unbreakable. And so you come to you get picked up at the airport, and I'm sure that helped you as well. I'm sure it actually helped you to know that you had somebody who had some type of relatability to you, because you guys come from the same, from the same side of the country. You got some of the same lingos, and so that's important, because I had two of those guys when I came from Cincinnati, and it was us three, myself, Zach Kleinfelter, and Brandon Cooper. That's my brother. Shout out to B Coop, DB coach over at Troy University, doing great things, and he's going to be on the show too. But yeah, so you're in Martin, something else to prove. You get this opportunity after you didn't even think that you would probably get an opportunity with this horrific injury, and you get to Martin, and you don't know what this place is, and it's a bunch of misfits, and you're coming from a winning program, and then you come here, and you know this is a rebuilding program, right? At this point, right when you get there.
Yeah.
Rebuilding program. All right. And so, but this is the only way you can continue your college career. Now, at this point, you said you're playing with the mindset, I'm gonna prove everyone wrong. I don't care if I'm playing in the backyard, as long as it's a college football team and I got some film, I'm gonna put great film out there. I'm gonna be a great teammate, and I'm gonna try to prove all my doubts wrong. I'm gonna get to the NFL. Right. Yeah. So now you're at Martin. When did you and Coach Griff, and again, like I said, big dog, I was like, man, this guy right here is crazy. I thought you were crazy, because I never seen anybody have a work ethic and had a passion as you. And I was a passionate person. I was very passionate too, but I had never seen anybody who matched that with me, as far as my passion for just wanting to win. I just wanted to win. Yeah. And so you get to Martin, and now you have to reset. Tell me what you were going through when you got to Martin, when it came to that. Like having to reset and reprove yourself and get an opportunity.
Yeah, I'll get to that. I want to speak on my first introduction with Sanders, because I think that's a pivotal part of this experience.
Yeah.
Because I think overall in general, my football experience at Martin did not live up to my expectation. And I'm sure for a lot of us it didn't either, right? And
correct.
I'm very proud to say that I went to UT Martin now. Very proud.
Yes.
The school has completely done a 180. Yep. The admin that's there, the staff, everything that they're doing all the right things. And I'm proud. I'm proud to wear my gear and to go to the games and support. And but during that time, you're right, it was a rebuilding year, and it was almost kind of like a joke. Like, man, I'm at UT Martin. Like, man, okay, like didn't even hear about the school. Our JUCOs would have beat this team easily, and I had to make the best of it. So from a football standpoint, my football experience was not what I thought it was going to be, and what I deserved, and what I wanted. However, things happen for a reason, right? And people are put into your life for a certain reason, and we were all supposed to go to UT Martin. However, the universe and the chess and the moves that God made, we were supposed to be there.
Correct.
And the best thing to come out of UT Martin was Sanders Trent, was Torian Stevens, was Brady Wahlberg, like all of my close brothers that I would do anything for, and that's what was supposed to happen.
Yep.
So when I met Sanders for the first time, it was instant. Coach Rondo had told me his situation as we were pulling up to the airport, knowing that we were going to be crossing paths. So when I saw him and I hugged him and I felt him, I felt his energy, and that was it, man. I knew instantly our souls were going to be aligned and connected, and he was going to be my brother, my soulmate, someone very special to me. I knew it instantly. I knew we were cut from the same cloth, and I felt it. And it's those things that happen in college that you don't expect to happen, but those become defining moments of your life, and they become the aha moments and reasons of, okay, this is why I've gone through everything to get to here. Not from a sports background and not from a football, but for a life experience and people that are going to be placed in your life that you're going to be connected with for the rest of your life.
Preach, my boy. Church.
So So that was it, man. That was, my football experience was what it was. I think I excelled at UT Martin and played well and was voted captain, did those things. I knew I wasn't going to go to the NFL from UT Martin pretty quickly when I got there. Like I
Yeah.
knew, I had a feeling like after breaking my leg and going to UT Martin, like the program just wasn't where it needed to be able to get us the exposure, and we weren't playing the right. And honestly, like I was not the same player coming off this injury.
Right.
If I could go back and do things over, I would have redshirted that
100%.
year when I got to UT Martin to give myself 2 extra years
Yep.
to rehab a broken leg that I was told I was never going to be able to play on ever again.
100%.
But me wanting to prove myself and wanting to be that JUCO player coming in and be the leader for the team, I didn't want to let the coaches down. Like I wanted to come in and play right away, even though I knew deep down I shouldn't have. I should have given it one more year, and I should have taken that red shirt. But I was too prideful, and I had too big of a chip on my shoulder that I was going to prove everybody wrong that said I'd never be able to play football again, and I'm going to, just to prove them wrong, I'm going to play this year when I shouldn't be playing.
Yep.
But
100%.
but that was the football experience. The best thing about UT Martin, man, was the relationships with all of you guys. Hands down, it's I'm so thankful for that the journey led me there, because we get to have these conversations about life, and we get to stay connected even though we don't physically see each other for 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah, that's true, man. It's I tell you, man, Martin holds a special place in my heart as well. And
Yeah.
matter of fact, Brady, I text Brady today, and he was with the family, and he called me, but I was getting ready for this. So hey, shout out, hey, B Wall, Vanilla Vic.
B-Wall.
Hey, my boy, listen, I'll call you tomorrow in your busy schedule, and so but yeah, man, Martin is a special place for me. And it took a second for me to actually to realize that, because it, went through a lot of things at Martin, but Martin, it definitely aligned all of us together.
Yeah.
And as you hit on a very important term, relationships. In this world, it's not about what you know all the time. Sometimes it's about who you know. And relationships, that's the key to. Everybody can't go professional. That's what, again, that's the title of, that's one of the premises of this episode. It's, again, going pro in life after college football. And that's where we, get into that, because all these lessons, and we've hit on all these things that you've gone through, and all these, again, your triumphs, your downfalls, your things that work for you, the adversity that you faced, with your having a family and being so younger, being so that much more younger from your siblings, to losing your mother. And then, having, we didn't talk about your father and stuff, going, having to go through the things that he's gone through thus far, but having you guys as a support system, even though you may not see eye to eye on a lot of things, right? But just life in general. And that's why I love the power of sports, because the things that you learn, if you actually listen, and you take out the work that you have to put into it. It's the people that you put the work in with. That's your blood. We talk about the say, as the old saying goes, blood, sweat, and tears. Well, listen, man, when you share the blood, sweat, and tears with other people, and you're trying to accomplish one common goal, and you actually get there. And if you don't get there, the process to get to become a team, to become a teammate, it just gives you so much valuable content for life that you can relate to in life.
Absolutely.
So you don't, again, you go to Martin, you never heard of it, but you're able to get something out of it, which is the relationships that you have. And now you got to go back to San Diego. You got to go back to San Diego after you graduate. And I will tell you guys, listen, I had a good time with this dude in college, man. He knew how to party, but the right way. He didn't get He didn't get in a lot of fights. Now, you could tell you had that personality and you were diverse because, we used to try to go to the country little, you remember what's the little bar? Cheers, racist cheers. And they let Jay Cass in because Jay Cass, he's just a clean guy. He's a clean guy. They wouldn't let people I had to pull my pants up to my stomach, because I wore bigger clothes back then. And
that let you bartend there.
They used to, so that happened. I'm just being gangster. That's the type of stuff that we had to deal with in Martin, Tennessee. And Martin is doing their thing now. I mean, like I said, they're powerhouse. Coach Simpson, shout out Coach Simpson. Coach Simpson told me you got to get on the show, Coach Simpson. We already talked. His son Ty Simpson is going to be the starting quarterback at Alabama this year. His youngest son was a freshman of the year in high school football in the nation. At Westview, bro. Listen, ready for these stats, bro? His name is Graham Simpson. The Coach Simpson's a quarterback whisperer. So listen, Ty Simpson broke all of state records in Tennessee at Westview, but he didn't have the receiving core that his little brother Graham has. So Graham, he's 6'3", 6'2", maybe. He was his freshman year this past season. Boy, I'm going to tell you these numbers. He threw for 50 touchdowns, 1 interception, completed 75% of his passes, and threw for over 4,500 yards.
Wow.
Listen, he was the freshman of the year in like high school and in college. I'm talking about he is like the most sought out quarterback in his class, bro. Coach Simpson's sons. And Ty Simpson was the same way. He was like number 1, number 2 scrambling quarterback in his class.
And he's at Bama now, right?
He's been at Bama. He's not transferred in the portal. He's Nick Saban recruited him. He had to sit behind, Milroe. Jalen Milroe, and he wanted to just stay there because he's like that's the best situation to be in to prove himself. And so Coach Simpson, man, shout out to Coach Simpson and UT Martin and the fam. But now you go back to San Diego. Now you like, okay, now you've had to come to grips that this is football. I'm not going to be able to continue my career in football, which is already a tough pill to swallow. But the sooner you know it, the better you may be off. Be off. But so you go back to San Diego. Now you got to figure it out. So you can't go professional in sports. Now you got to work on going professional in life. But everything that you've gone through in sports has prepared you for what you're, for life almost to a degree.
Yeah.
So and we can go down. And I know, and just for time's sake, because we got to wrap it up here. But you had marketing jobs. I remember when you moved to Las Vegas when you were working for Monster, because you have a personality that's just so contagious, Jay Cass. You have a personality that's contagious. You have energy that's almost unmatched, and you have a genuine side of yourself that there's a reason why you are who you are. And people the reason why people are attracted to you. And so you have these successful jobs. All these jobs you have that. You also are, and you go. Just take me down memory lane. So you after college, you end up, you get into marketing, and just give me a real quick rundown to where, and then we're going to segue into what you're ultimately doing right now. This beautiful and unbelievable, uplifting, taking care of your mind, body, and soul. When it comes to what you do, but let's get us there. So after UT Martin, you go back to San Diego and go ahead.
Yeah, and I immediately start working in the hospitality industry. So I come home and I had emphasis in my degree in kind of hospitality management at UT Martin. And I knew that I wanted to come back and immediately jump into that field, whether it was going to be hotel management or something to do with people, because as you mentioned, and I'm very gracious for your compliments and what you say about me. But I am a people person, and I do connect with people easily. So I started working in the nightclub business. I started as a security guard and eventually worked my way up to running the VIP services and dealing with bottle service clients. And that eventually led to just operations of the entire nightclub. I was a general manager for various nightclubs in San Diego. I helped put together, the opening and strategy and just building teams and just managing the business from just an operational standpoint.
And I know how modest you are, but you remember, I remember everything.
Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir, man. But yeah,
it was a place called Flood. I mean, it was at the time when we opened, it was the number one nightclub in the nation. Won all types of awards, and that was a place to go in San Diego. It was at that time, the Chargers were still in San Diego, and we had every celebrity in there, we had every Charger, we had every performer you could think of that was in there. And for me, it was just an opportunity, one, to be in that business at a high level, and people that don't understand the hospitality business, I tell people, because I spent 10 years in that business. If you can be successful in the hospitality business, specifically bars, restaurants, nightclubs, you can be successful in any business, because the amount of pressure, the amount of stress, the amount of distractions that are within that business is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about a nightclub atmosphere where hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars are coming in and out of that place, yearly. You have staff that you manage, you have customers that you're managing, and all in an environment that is conducive to alcohol use and abuse, drug use and abuse.
Yeah.
And I've seen many people that I've hired and that I've employed, and I've had the same conversations specifically with bottle service waitresses and bartenders. And I tell them the same thing, or I used to tell them the same thing. When you come into this business, do not let this business change you, right? Do not lose your identity and let this business become you. Because what I
Right.
see all the time is people come into this business and try to reinvent themselves, because all of a sudden they're in the cool environment and they're part of the cool kids now, and they start doing what they think they should be doing as a cool kid. And I've seen this within 6 months. It's the same bottle service waitress goes out and gets a boob job, starts spending all of her money on designer bags, start wasting, because this environment, people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars in a cash business.
Right.
So getting back to the original point, if you can be successful in this business, you can be successful in any business, because it teaches you about the power of relationship building, man. And there's no more power than that in the hospitality, because it's a service forward facing business. It's a people business. If you don't like people, you can't be in that business. And what I've learned, and from there, I've done marketing jobs. I worked for marketing in Monster, where I was handling Arizona, Nevada, California, and I was doing big chain big chain facilities with Monster and the marketing side. I did some sports marketing with there was the Spring Football League, the Alliance of American Football. It was kind of the startup football league. San
Right.
Diego had a team called the Fleet. This happened in 2019. I got blessed to be a part of that through a good friend of mine named Gabe Giordano, who put me in contact with the team president, Jeff Garner, at that time. And I had never specifically had this role in sports marketing, but because of my past in nightclubs and marketing and just staying relevant and creative and building relationships, I went in and sat down with Jeff, who had been in pro sports for 20 plus years. And I said, I'm going to be your vice president of marketing for the team. And mind you, this is a brand new professional football team, and all the other VPs for all the other teams in the league were coming from NFL teams. They were coming from major college programs, and I'm coming from the nightclub world in San Diego. And Jeff took a shot on me, and I excelled. Before the league shut down and ran out of money, we had the number one marketing team in the whole league. We had major contracts with CBS networks, and we put together commercials, and we were doing big things in San Diego. That crashed, and then I went up with Jeff and followed him to Orange County, where he became the president of the Orange County Soccer Club, which is in the USL, which is one division below the MLS. And he gave me another opportunity to be the vice president of marketing for the team. And then COVID happens, right? And the whole world shuts down. But during this process, right, the one constant for me that's always been a constant is my ability to mix in health and fitness and wellness, and I'd always stayed active and working out, and in between these things I was starting to coach on the side, right? I was doing personal training, I was doing kind of speed and conditioning camps for kids, and I was doing all these things, and it always kind of been like a side thing for me, because I'm passionate about health and fitness, and it was what helped me excel in football, and it was during all my different careers and choices and moves, that has been the one constant. So after COVID happens, I was up there for the season, and I decided to quit this job as vice president of marketing for the Orange County Soccer Club, move back home, take a job with a buddy of mine at the time, until I figured out what I was going to do. And then the key moment came when I was working at my buddy's grocery store, Derek Marceau. His family has owned Valley Farm Market in San Diego for years, and just an incredible pillar of the community. They've been open for 56 plus years, and
Wow.
Derek is just an amazing human. He's a whole another guy you should probably have on the podcast.
Yeah.
But one of my best friends. So I came down after I quit the Orange County Soccer Club, started working at the grocery store with him. And one day, a girl that walked in that looked familiar that I went to high school with, and I ended up texting her like, "Hey, did you just walk in the restaurant?" Because at this time, people were still wearing face masks.
Right.
So we connected and we grabbed lunch and we were talking and we were catching up. And she was talking about how she was married, and she's like, she was like, will you like train me, like personal train me?
Mm.
And at that time, I wasn't trained. But the reason she asked me this is because right after the fleet shut down, which this was April of 2019, I was depressed. This was
Right.
my dream job, to be the vice president of marketing for a professional football team. We were told that this league had unlimited resources. So when it got pulled away from me, I was depressed and I shut down. And one day I was coming home from the gym and I looked at myself in the mirror with my shirt off, and I said, I was kind of embarrassed and I was disgusted with the way I looked, because in my head, I'm like, oh, I work out every single day. I go to the gym for 2 hours. I think I'm eating the right things, right? I'm doing low carb, high fat, high protein. And I look at myself and my body is terrible. And I got pissed. Like, I got really mad. And I said, something needs to change. And when I kind of dived down into analyzing what I was doing, the thing that wasn't changing is really paying attention to what I was eating. So I made a decision in May of 2019 that I was gonna become the best version of myself and get in the best possible shape. And doing that, it was never a problem with working out and being consistent. It was me not keeping myself accountable for tracking my macronutrients, how much protein, how many carbs, how much fat I was getting. So I went on this program and I started tracking everything. From May 19, I started at 246 pounds,
Yeah.
which was bigger than I was playing football at UT Martin.
Wow.
And in my head, I was thinking I was in shape. I got down by November 2019 to 202.
Whoa.
And my life completely changed, man. It was drastically changed. Didn't even look like the same person. So I say that because I preface that because when I ran into this young lady from high school and we reconnected, she said, this is what you should be doing. She's all, I've always seen you and I watched you and I was very open about documenting my transformation on Instagram and talking
Right.
about it, and
Right.
people saw that. And this whole time I started just kind of being open and being very vulnerable what I was going through. So people saw that. So she started to look at me as kind of a leader in that field. She's like, you've always been involved in sports. You've always been training. Why don't you just train me? This is where you're passionate. And it took that meeting and that encounter at the grocery store for everything to change. And everything at that moment came full circle. And I said, I've always been this person. I've always been like a coach and a trainer. I need to dive fully into this, and
Yep.
I need to change people's lives the way I changed myself, because right now I feel the best that I've ever felt in my entire life, and I want people to feel the same. And that was it. And that opened the door to where I'm at.
Right. And let's talk about where you are now, right? Because where you are right now is you're on a vertical trajectory and what you're doing. And I've always known you to always to be in the gym. I've always known you to be in the gym. I've always known you to try to get that extra edge on competition. And you for the most part, like, again, this is who you are based on your story, the fullness of your story. If I can't control it, as what the coach put in, Coach Griff, control what you can control and work through the uncontrollables. Right. So,
Right.
it's just so crazy. And I try to tell a lot of young people now, and my kids, which they kind of get, because they've been around me for quite some time now. And but what I try to tell a lot of people is, and especially the young folks, age is something that's, when you're younger, you don't have a good perspective on what age. And you talk to a 65-year-old person, we're babies, right? And we're in our early 40s, and a lot of people are like, man, your life is just starting. Your life is just starting. All right. And so sometimes you don't know. You got to just keeping, not staying stagnant, put one foot in front of the other, which that's what you were able to control. Your emotions you can't control all the way, right? Depending on what you're dealing with. You can suppress them, but that's not controlling your emotion. That's just burying your emotions. And but you've always worked out. You've always been, conscious of your physique and what you're trying to accomplish with your physique. But this inspiration comes later in life for you, right? Like you're in your late 30s when this fruition comes to you from a friend from high school that you haven't seen in quite some time, while you're just in between jobs, and your friends helping you while you're in between jobs, and you get this inspiration. They come from the smallest places, right? And so that's what makes it so profound. As we're talking about it, it's so profound because now you're talking about everything. Now it's going full circle. It's becoming full circle. So all the things that you had put in, from little league football to training with the CPR and winning, the being a champion, winning and getting to Martin, literally preordained to seeing this, high school colleague of yours, that this is what how she has perceived you, and you haven't even perceived yourself that way. You're just like, yo, this is what I'm just doing what I do. And she's like, she gives you that confirmation. And now you're doing unbelievable things in the workout sector. And let's talk about it. Let's go into that as we wrap it up. So, as you go professional, you don't go professional in football, right? But you're going professional in life, and you're getting it not at the time that you want, but at the right time. All right. So let's get there. So she gives you that inspiration. You're looking at yourself in the mirror. I don't like what I see. And you got this, this final nugget. And now you tell me how you get to this mobile gym business.
Yeah, so I have a company called Mobile Gym Flow, and I have it's a customized 6 foot by 12 foot trailer that's literally a gym on wheels. And I had seen something similar to what I have a couple years on social media, and I thought to myself, man, this would be something that could take my training and my fitness to the next level, but not just for one-on-one clients, but on a bigger level, to get into corporate wellness program, put together programs for kids in schools and low income communities that don't have access to resources, and having gyms on campus and sports teams. So I had this trailer built, and people can find me on our website at mobilegymflow.com, or you can follow me on Instagram at Mobile Gym Flow. But this right here is an opportunity for me to really be impactful, man, and really affect people's lives in a positive way. My whole goal, man, and my whole brain is to help people become the best version of themselves, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Just as I've been on a personal quest for myself to do the same thing, I want to share that message with other people as well. And this mobile gym gives me an opportunity to do that in big group settings. For me, and for what I've learned in fitness, just like life, is about connection, right? And it's about being a part of a team. And everything that I've learned in my sports career and my football career specifically is about connection and about how we feed off of each other. And fitness is no different than that, man. And people want to feel part of a tribe and a part of a team and a part of community. So the mobile gym is opening up the doors for me to be able to do that on a bigger level. So right now I've been working with a couple school districts in San Diego, and I've been putting together challenges for teachers that don't really have the resources to go out and to join other gyms. So I bring the gym to them. I don't give them an opportunity to miss a workout, because I'm there. There's no excuse. They come out of class and I'm coaching them. So the goal is to continue doing this and replicating this process with with school districts and really getting involved in the youth to do that on a scale where I'm able to teach kids at a young age, especially kids that don't have the resources and don't come from the best backgrounds, about health and fitness, and the importance of exercising and specifically strength training and lifting weights, because it's such a not only is it great for developing good habits, but it's great for building confidence. And a lot of these kids coming from some of these backgrounds, even like myself, nutrition was never talked about growing up in my household, really, as far as like eating the right things. It was just about you ate whatever was on your plate. But I've noticed in some of the minority communities is we don't always have the healthiest options. And if I can be impactful and get involved at the pre-high school level and start instilling some of these habits with some of these kids, then I know I'm going to help them. Because I went through body dysmorphia issues growing up, because I was always having to lose weight. And I said we would kind of circle back.
Yep.
Well, now we're circling back, is like all those having to lose 20 pounds every season before Pop Warner has affected me, and it has given me issues with food, and has given me issues with my own self-worth and my own body and the way I see myself.
Yep.
Luckily, I had a strong enough foundation with my family and being able to excel at sports and football that I was able to overcome those things. But a lot of these kids don't have that. And especially now with social media and how people are validating themselves by how many likes they're getting and what they're seeing on social media, that plays a big impact in that, man. And what I've learned is, if we can come the best versions of ourselves, look good, feel good, we're going to act good and we're going to do good. And for me, that starts with being able to share my message with everybody about the importance of strength training, tracking your macros, and just becoming the best version of yourself and challenging yourself every day. It's not competition with everyone that's on social media. It's you versus you in that mirror every day. And I still remind myself every morning when I wake up, prove myself. And when I say prove myself, I'm looking at the person in the mirror. I'm proving myself to myself.
Man, dude, I'm telling you, man, very powerful, J Cass. That's very powerful. Your story is very powerful. It's very motivating. It's very uplifting. And that, again, that's what we aim to do. And I would just, I actually want to give you a suggestion, and maybe you've already thought about this as we wrap it up. When it comes to your mobile gym, what about when you talk about the underprivileged, the schools, the public schools, man, you should think about taking that mobile gym to like schools with or little league or middle schools or high schools that don't have actually a gym, and their teams can actually work out. You can work them out, just bringing a mobile gym, going to maybe a local park, and I already know you probably thought about those type of things, but I was just thinking off the top
Yeah,
of the
you're absolutely right. That's definitely one of the verticals that I'm working through. Unfortunately, there's a lot of gatekeepers to be able to kind of break down those doors, but
yeah.
I'll do what I do best, and I'll make a connection with someone, and I'll make them realize that this is something that's going to benefit those kids.
Absolutely. And real quick, tell the audience again the name of your mobile gym business.
Yeah, it's called Gym Flow, but the website is mobilegymflow.com. And that's where you can find me on Instagram as well, Mobile Gym.
Man, listen, J Cass, this has been very insightful. It's very powerful, very motivating. It's very educational. As I say, educate to elevate. We got to educate to elevate. And the last thing I just want to just close this out with, as like I said, this episode is entitled "Going Pro in Life After College Football." What would you tell any aspiring athlete or coach who had the same aspirations as you, but had some of the faced the realities of the world, and who may not have a chance to go professional in sports? What would you tell that athlete? Because it's a hard pill to swallow, and it can actually take you down a dark path. What would you, and you said a lot during this, but what's one thing that you would wrap up that you would tell that athlete or that coach?
Two things. I tell them, your future self is watching. Who you become you want to make your future self proud. right? We're always gonna have obstacles that we have to overcome. What do you want to look back if you were starring in your movie and you were the star of the movie? What role do you want to play in the future, and how do you want to perceive yourself? The other thing I'd say is discipline meets motivation, or discipline beats motivation. You're not going to be motivated every day. There's going to be days that you wake up and you're going to be motivated to do things, but then you're going to get injured, or you're going to be told that you're too small, or you're going to lose a relative, or something is going to happen. So you're not always going to be motivated. Motivation comes and goes. The separation between successful people is discipline, and discipline will beat motivation every single time. So naturally, we're supposed to have trials and tribulations. That's part of our makeup, and that's part of everyone's story. But if we're disciplined, we're always going to continue going in the right direction. Now, my journey hasn't always been straight, but it's always been in a positive direction going up, and it's because I've always maintained discipline. Yeah, there's days even now I don't always wake up motivated. If I waited to work out only on the days that I was motivated, I probably would work out half the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I wake up at 2:30 every single morning because I'm disciplined, and I know that this is the expectation that I have for myself. And I know that in order for me to talk about and help someone become the best version of themselves, I have to start with myself first. And I have to be the example for myself, because I'm always also thinking that my future self is watching me right now.
Man, dude, powerful. Hey, listen, ain't nothing short than powerful coming from you, my boy. As I like to say to everyone, I like to say this. I use this saying all the time. And it's a lot in life. You got to do the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So you can do the things that you want to do.
Yes.
J Cass, man, this has been, like I said, very powerful. I won't hold you much longer. Ladies and gentlemen, you may not always be able to go pro in the sport that you play, but damn it, at some point you must go pro in life. Learn the lessons that you need to learn. Find the support system that you need to find, right? You have one life to live. One life to live, right? Live it to the fullest. Get everything you need to get out of it. Control what you can control and get through the uncontrollables. Yes, my friend and my brother has done that, and he continues to do it. I will post his. I will in the edits. I will post your contact information when it comes to the mobile gym. I will put it in the descriptions. You tell Miss Castillo. I have not had a pleasure of meeting her yet, but you tell her I appreciate her giving me this time with you, my brother. My friend for life, Mr. John Castillo.
Thank you. I love you, brother.
We can do some. Bro, keep talking that shit, you just might move some. Apply that pressure. Apply that pressure.